I've been covering the Main Street streetcar expansion for almost 3 years on this channel, and today is finally the day that Kansas City reconnects neighborhoods by rail that haven't been connected in over 70 years. So today I'm gonna take you on a ride from Union Station all the way down to UMKC, joined by city leaders and officials who were instrumental in turning this vision into a reality. This isn't just about a new transit line, it's about the future of neighborhoods and development across Midtown all the way down to the plaza, and whether or not Kansas City can become a less car-dependent city. So let's hop on and take a ride.
Really, over 8 years from the planning to the funding to the utility work. So 8 years, and even the plans and the visions, right, for Midtown sort of were percolating well before that. So this is really, I would say, a 20-year vision that's finally coming to life for Main Street.
What do you think was the biggest challenge that you guys faced in that 8-year period?
Well, it's the staying power of advancing a project that costs money, right? It takes voter support and approval. It takes really multiple administrations, right? Mayoral and city council to sort of stay the course to see the plan to fruition.
I think one of the challenges is really meeting the expectations of what the starter line did, right? It was very successful in making sure that we continued that momentum. I think some of the other challenges early on were, do we want to have the rails on the inside of the corridor or the outside of the corridor? Just really, it's the same challenges with the starter line, and that is when you come and retrofits a new transportation mode in an existing urban corridor.
Kansas City is not necessarily known for its robust public transportation system, right? We used to have a really robust streetcar system back in the day, but what does this particular Main Street line mean for the city?
Well, first and foremost, it's connections, right? Much like we did on the starter line, we connected convention centers, business districts, River Market, and things like that, connecting the Midtown, the plaza, and the universities.
Well, it really is a generational reconnection. It's our two largest job centers. They're our densest neighborhoods. It's no longer just a downtown streetcar thing. This is the spine of a regional system. So we're spreading the impacts, spreading the benefits, right, that we've seen downtown in terms of connectivity, access for residents, employees, and visitors, and really putting a stake in the ground for new development, for investment. We want to bring people and jobs back to the core of our city, and this is a big lever that's going to help us do that.
The KCTV tower, the largest freestanding steel structure when it was built, and they just relit it, which is awesome. So at night, you got all these LED lights that light up. You'll be able to take the streetcar right through here, check it out at night, maybe going to or from a concert at the World War I Museum or Union Station. So cool to see a line running through here. Downtown, it was 2016 when that started, and that sparked, I mean, arguably billions of dollars.
Over $3 billion by
$3 billion in downtown. So over the next 10 years for Midtown, what kind of impact do you think this could make here?
I think the impact's going to be even bigger for Midtown than it has been for downtown. It's going to be context appropriate. It's going to fit the Midtown right vibe in the neighborhood, right? There's a plan for higher density along Main Street at the nodes of the streetcar stops. But you're going to see those empty spaces fill in. You're going to see the service parking lots and the vacant buildings become reoccupied. We saw downtown when the first year we carried over 2 million people, and we saw almost a 50% increase in sales tax revenues to downtown businesses along the streetcar arc. Because people were exploring parts of our city they had never explored before. You know, people downtown were going to the River Market, they were going to the Crossroads, they were going to 2 or 3 destinations instead of just one. These are truly authentic places, some of the best of what defines Kansas City as Kansas City when you think about it, right? We're adding Midtown, Westport, Nelson Atkins, and the Kemper, the Plaza, our largest university in UMKC, to the downtown experience.
You know, that's the story, right? So when we built a starter line, we had almost double the expected ridership, and I think north of $3 billion of investment. We do expect and believe that that's just going to continue with the Main Street extension, especially when you start thinking about we're connecting to hospitals and schools. That's ridership that we're going to see. And with ridership comes that development. I'll never forget with the starter line, we had a out-of-town developer in, and I asked him, are you really, this is before it opened, I'm like, are you going to invest because we're building Streetcar? And I'll never forget what he said. He said, we were always thinking about investing in Kansas City, but when we heard you were going to build a streetcar, we had to invest in Kansas City. So I think when you drive the line and you see there's a lot of, first of all, there's a lot of good bones. We have a lot of good communities and neighborhoods and businesses on the corridor, but at the same time, there's a few spots that is going to lend itself to something else and a better use.
Fun fact about the original streetcar line is the first 3 years after it opened, it generated 65% tax revenue, sales tax revenue for the downtown corridor, compared to just 16% for the rest of Kansas City. So that just goes to show you what this transit, this public transportation can do and what it can mean and what it does mean to the city. And by the way, if you're considering moving to or around Kansas City, my team and I would love to help. We're a team of local realtors and we help people make those decisions every single day. So head over to movingtokc.net/info to get started. One of the things that's a little bit different with this one is we have designated streetcar lanes in Midtown. So there's been a little bit of controversy to that, I mean, just based on the content that I've done. What do you say to those people who are a little nervous about restricting lanes through Midtown on Main Street?
Well, our city has so overbuilt the roadway network for generations because we were focused on getting people out of downtown as fast as possible. And so we had 6 lanes of traffic. It was 40 to 50 miles an hour. It wasn't friendly for pedestrians. It wasn't friendly for street front retail. It was auto-centric. And that's not what anybody wants Main Street to be. We want Main Street to be a walkable, pedestrian-friendly, safe environment. And so road widening the street, expanding sidewalks, adding green infrastructure, over 100 trees up and down Main Street that have been added. This is a $352 million investment in transit connectivity and access, and we want it to work well. And we believe we have the room in the roadway to do all of this, where we can move well, we can be efficient with the streetcar, give it some priority, while also maintaining the capacity and access that we need for automobile traffic.
So you mentioned the riverfront extension, right? That's the next on the docket. It's currently under construction. Any updates on the timeline and how does that kind of fit into the bigger vision for the streetcar?
So the streetcar and the vision always had been to build a spine, to grow the downtown line. We always like to say, to demonstrate the possible or the show me state. And we've proven downtown that there are great benefits from improved transit connectivity and access. And we're growing south, and yes, we're growing north to the riverfront. That project is over 95% constructed now. We're getting ready to test streetcars down to the riverfront later this month, which will be the first time in our city's history that we've ever had streetcars on the riverfront. So we're on pace for, I would say, a Q1 opening of next year. So we're hoping, the February, March timeframe. We don't have a date yet. We still have to go through all the safety certification and federal approval processes that we have for Main Street in terms of testing and commissioning. But we feel really good about early 2026 opening, well in advance of the World Cup.
I know this took 8 years, right? But there's been conversations about extending north of the river, a couple east-west lines. I know that there's a study going on right now for 18th and Vine. How likely are any of those to transpire? And if so, which one do you think is most likely to happen?
Well, I think the streetcar is going to continue to grow. These things take a long time, as you mentioned, but regions evolve and they change over time. Transportation systems are really a leading indicator of that evolution. And so for us as a region, it's what do we want to be in 50 years? What's the role of public transit? And regions who do this really well advance multiple projects. They have a pipeline of projects and they chip away and they evolve as the region evolves, and they're actually helping to grow our city in a healthy and sustainable way. So I have a ton of confidence that as the streetcar spine grows on Main Street, that the magnetic pull of our system, that the attractiveness, the desire for other parts of our community to be connected are going to also grow. And that appetite for connectivity and linkage for people wanting to now be a part of this will motivate us to do the hard things. I'm confident it'll take some time, but we have to do the hard work. We got to keep looking to the future. Kansas City can't settle. We didn't want to settle on 2-mile streetcar, and we don't want to settle on a 6.5-mile spine. Our city deserves more than that, and we think there's great opportunities to grow it in the future.
Last question. So 2035, right? You're looking back. What'll be the one thing that you point to say this was a successful project overall?
I think a reinvigorated Midtown with people on the street, with businesses occupied, with new buildings taking the place of surface parking lots or dilapidated structures, right? A healthy, vibrant neighborhood, right? That's safe, that people want to live in. This has never been about the shiny streetcar. It's always been about what are we creating as a city? How can the streetcar and transit investment help us move the needle on creating a really, really great place to live and work and play? So it really is that. It's a vibrant Main Street with people walking, biking, using streetcar, but seeing the growth and development around the line that we know is going to come in the very near future.
For me, it would be that development, and it was the same for the starter line as well. It's, you know, there's a few areas in particular that I would like to see vacant lots become high-rises or condos or businesses and things like that. So for me, it really would be that development, because if there is more development, that means there's more ridership, and that means this investment was a success. You know, I got to thinking, I got to add one more thing. I'm sorry. So my kids are at college, right? And I wished I had a few more years, because then they went away to college, and I think maybe one of them, if not more, would have decided to stay if they could go to school here and not have a car. And that's really the key, right? I think when this extension's over, you're going to be able to live here without a car if you so choose. We've got churches, hospitals, hardware stores, grocery stores, everything on this line now with the extension.
Well, that's huge for me, because I have 3 boys at home, 9 and under, right? And we live in Waldo. And so we're super excited about this project, obviously, because we can ride the trolley trail on our bikes and hop on the line at UMKC and go to the riverfront next year. So hopefully that'll encourage them to stick around when they're college ready. I guess the last thing, if you want to tell anybody that's considering moving to Kansas City, what's one more thought you want to leave them with?
I mean, I'm a transplant, you know, from 2000, so certainly I call my home now. But I use this a lot, and like when we think about World Cup and other major events, we're big enough to handle big events and have professional sports and all that, but we're small enough to still care about the neighborhoods and the people and things like that. I love Kansas City, and I think anybody who visits here realizes what we have going on, and it's a very exciting time, as you know, to live and work in this city.
The Main Street extension is open as of today, and it's going to change the way people experience Kansas City. And the neighborhoods along its route, the Union Hills, the Midtown, the Brookside, the Plaza, those are the neighborhoods that you're gonna wanna watch over the next decade. If you're considering a move to Kansas City, or you're just trying to find what your next neighborhood is, we would love to help. Head over to movingtokc.net/info to get started. We help people navigate these transitions every single day. And if you wanna know where Kansas City is heading beyond the transportation, from the new developments and everything else that's going on here in our city, make sure you watch this next video here, and we'll see you on the next one.